a highly distinguished professor of biotechnology who has received Tamgha Imtiaz, Sitara Imtiaz in 1998 and Hilal Imtiaz in 2004 for his exceptional contributions to the field of science. Dr. Kauser Abdulla Malik will be delivering a keynote speech on the current status of biotechnology in Pakistan. Please welcome him to the stage with a round of applause.
Javed Qureshi Sahab and all my colleagues on the stage, and ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. It's a great honor for me, and especially all the gestures that DG EPA kindly bestowed upon me. I'm honestly overwhelmed. You see. Thank you so much. It's true that I have seen all the developments, especially in the area of biotechnology, and I would like to share with you some of the landmarks in the development of biotechnology. And if I could start by my first slide. Can I operate it from here? Or? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Yes, okay, thank you. Well, I will be talking about the current status of biotechnology. Anyway, could I have the next slide? You see, we have, at the moment, we have nearly 53 institutes or departments who are currently working around the country in the field of biotechnology. And over the last couple of years, the government has awarded research projects over 90, and the major funding agencies, as you all know, have been HEC, PARB, which is Punjab Agriculture Research Board, Pakistan Science Foundation, and the Pakistan Agriculture Research Council. And only in the last 5-6 years, we have spent more than 600 billion rupees only on researches in biotechnology, you see. Could I have the next one? Now, I would like for all of you to, I would like to go into a little bit of history, you see, We started, the biotechnology in the country was started through a workshop which was held at Nayab in 1981. And that workshop was organized by Sheikh Riazuddin Sahab, and there Dr. Anwar Hasim, whom many of you already know, and also the late Dr. Iqbal Bukhari, who was working at Cold Spring Harbor in USA. They had come all the way to Pakistan and conducted the first molecular biology training workshop, you see. And the people who attended those workshops are all have excelled in their own areas, and they have been the leaders in biotechnology, you see, And then another landmark, in 1984, United Nations Industrial Development Organization launched a proposal to establish an international center for genetic engineering and biotechnology, and asked all the member states to give the bids, you see. And Pakistan was the country to also give a bid for that, and for that delegation of scientists from 3 or 4 countries visited Pakistan and other countries also, and we conducted their trip in Pakistan and to see all the research institutes in Faisalabad, in Lahore, in Islamabad, and elsewhere. And they had a very important meeting with Ziaul Haq, who was the resident at that time, and Ziaul Haq offered them all facilities, and very generously, he said, we will do everything, provide land, provide everything for establishment of this center. And lo and behold, Pakistan was shortlisted to host this center. And India was not shortlisted, you see, and at that time Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister of India, and she got really mad and started an aggressive campaign, you see, and at that time Professor late Abdul Salam was also at ICTP, and he also helped us, but somehow we lost. And it was established in Italy, you see, with a satellite station in India. At that time, we asked the government that if you are interested in establishing an international center, why can't you establish a national center, you see? So that was the idea, and so we were asked to prepare the PC1 and all that, and that was eventually approved in 1987. The idea was approved in 1987, and at the same time, another group from NAYAB went to the Punjab University to establish the Center of Excellence in Molecular Biology to raise the manpower. You see, so that was the main objective. And in the meantime, the IBG was approved by the Planning Commission in 1987, and it was built, construction started, etc., and we shifted in the new premises in 1992. So these have been the two main centers which started biotechnology in the country, and we always regard NAYAB as the mother institute for many centers, you see, because a lot of manpower, and initially the manpower which established in NAYAB Center for Excellence in Molecular Biology, Sheikh Riazuddin Sahab, Tayyib Hasnan, Amin Athar, you see, and all those days, all these people were working at NAYAB, and they were sent to Center of Excellence, and initially all their support was done by the Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission, you see. So this is the history that I wanted to share with all of you, especially the younger people, that how all these things started. And then we had a series of developments, and that was liberal support by the government during the last 2 decades, you see. During the time even of Ziaul Haq, and then subsequently the political governments, and also Pervez Musharraf era were the era where we had liberal support, you see, and it was the time when HEC was formed. That was the time when Professor Ataur Rahman was active, and he was instrumental in developing the manpower in the country, you see, and then therefore with all these we have come to about 53 institutes at the moment, you see. Have the next one, please. Now, commensurate with that, we have the regulation timeline, you see. That is the how we have come to the. You say all the activities were based on our desire to attract foreign funding, you see. To attract foreign investments, you see, and there was a lot of handicap of the regulations, you see. In about 94, we competed and successfully competed a competitive research grant from International Center for ICAC, Cotton, Institute, supported by CFC. CFC is another international institution located in Amsterdam, you see. They awarded us a tripartite project to work on cotton, and that was $1.6 million at that time. And that was jointly to be conducted from John Innes Center in UK and University of Arizona, and then IBG, and I was the project executing agency. We used to send funds to UK and USA, you see, So that was the time when we were about to be awarded that grant, but the donors asked us that, do you have biosafety regulations in the country? We had not heard of any biosafety regulations at that time. We looked around with all the government. There was no Ministry of Environment at that time. It was being looked after by the Ministry of Housing, you see. And so anyway, we prepared our own voluntary code of conduct for the release of GMOs, and that document we sent to the Ministry of Housing, you see, and they also didn't know what to do with that. But anyway, we informed the donors that we have this voluntary code of conduct, so they accepted that, and we got the project going. So that was the beginning. Then we started lobbying for having our own biosafety guidelines, you see. And you see, this era of 11 years, from 94 to 2005, was spent on going to every ministry, to every department, and explaining and all that. And in between, biotechnology became a bit controversial, you see. And there were so many NGOs, international NGOs, who had that they are against GMOs and they are doing this is all kind of nonsense, So with that, whenever we used to have a meeting here in Islamabad in any hotel, all these NGOs used to come with a placard against, that they are going to kill us, they are going to do this, they are going to do that, all kinds of nonsense. You see, anyway, with all that, we were able eventually to prepare the document, and that document was line by line vetted by, I'm sorry, I forget the names, and there was a Minister for Environment at that time, Dedi, who was the daughter of Hussain Shahid Sorwardi. Shahida Jamil, thank you. Dr. Shahida Jamil, she sat in your, office, and she spent whole day looking at that document, because she was herself a lawyer, a barrister, you see, and she advised so many things to be incorporated in that, So we did all that, and it was Anwar Naseem and myself who sat with her and, did all that. But then, she got changed or something, and then again it was a lull, you see, So at last, we had, Mr. Jahangir Khan Tareen was always our big supporter, you see. He helped us a lot. At that time, he was a Minister for Industries and Special Initiatives, and under that, he did lots of things in support of that. So he arranged a meeting with Mr. Shaukat Aziz, who was the Prime Minister of the country, and then Javed Hassan Ali Saab, who was the Secretary at that time, late Javed Hassan Ali. He was a good friend of mine as well. And we met Shaukat Aziz, with Mr. Sikandar Posan. So we explained it to him that this is, it's a pending area. Without this, no foreign investor is going to come, and so therefore we have to have our own biosafety guidelines. I told him that this has been vetted and seen by all the experts, etc., etc. And there was, I still remember, a Minister for Environment at that time. Again, I have forgotten their names. Tahir? He was a former army, background. So he very innocently said, "Sir, अगर वो सुअर की जीन ये डाल देंगे तो फिर क्या होएगा?" You see, तो Shaukat Aziz got a bit offended. He said, उनको बिल्कुल झाड़ के कहा कि यार क्या करते हैं आप, कैसी बातें करते हैं? You see, etc. Anyway, he instructed that by, I think, April 15, but अभी तक याद है, by April 15, you have to have this thing enacted, you see. So we decided that in order to enact, we have to go to the parliament, and it will again take many years then, you see. So instead of that, we decided that it should be incorporated in the environmental protection law. Then I spent one whole day, it's a part of education also, you see. I spent a whole day with the draftsman of the Ministry of Law Department, you see. और उनकी अपनी लैंग्वेज होती है, उनकी अपना lawyers की how to so he went through. I had to explain to him every term and every detail, etc. So that's how this biosafety guideline came into being. And by that time, Adam was also in EPA, and we invited her to IBGI as well, and then that's where we were launched. In all this, I must mention for record, you see that Sheikh Riazuddin Sahab, who is my contemporary, he was permanently involved, you see, but since he was in Lahore and I was in Islamabad, so I was doing all the turning around, you see, but the initial document was all prepared by both of us, you see, Sheikh Riazuddin and myself, you see, But anyway, so then we had, and then in 2009 we signed the Cartagena protocol, and that was also lot of कभी इसको साइन करें या ना करें, you see, so I mean, our secretaries being relatively non-technical, so they wanted to have assurance from the technical community that whether we should go for it. So we decided that it is a law or protocol approved by the United Nations, and so it should be approved, you see. So we signed that. And then 2016, we had the Plant Breeders Right Act, and we took 2 years to make the rules for the plant breeders. So this is something else that I would now turn it over, you see. Okay, so this is, sorry for taking a bit longer in telling you the history. And these are, you all know, all the key institutes, you see. And we are very proud of all these institutes and all the manpower that they have. And another thing that I want to emphasize is that through capacity building or human resource development, starting from 2002 or 3 when HEC was formed, there has been an immense improvement in our human resource development. We were able to send hundreds of people abroad for doing their PhDs in all cutting edge areas, you see. So at the moment, I can say with all authority that we have expertise in every cutting edge technology, you see, and related to biotechnology at least, you see, both in agriculture and health, you see, So this is an expertise that we have to utilize, you see. We have to utilize, you see. This is do or die situation, you see, Anyway, so could I have the next one, please? Now, this is another I want to, you don't have to go through all this, but I want to show you the kind of work that is being done in the country, you see. In cotton, there are several institutes who are doing excellent work, and they are doing in all areas which are related to cotton. Similarly, in sugarcane and wheat, very importantly, because wheat is our food security, you see. Wheat is our staple diet. Wheat, wheat, sometime people from livestock say, जी कि साहब livestock तो 60% तो उसकी contribution है, उसकी बात नहीं हम करते, हम उसकी भी बात करते हैं, लेकिन wheat is a special crop because it, अगर आटा में गड़बड़ होएगी तो जो आजकल हो रहा है वही आपको मिलेगा, you see. Therefore, working on wheat and using the technology for wheat is absolutely important, you see. And this is the kind of work which is being done in throughout all, and most of the things I know personally, the kind of things which are being done. Dr. Saeed from IBGI is here somewhere, and he has so much material over there, you see, which is amazing, and it is so saddening. It is sad affairs that these things have not been able to be utilized or to be commercialized or to be, used, you see. Similarly, I see Dr. Sarwar Saab also here from University of Agriculture, Faisalabad. He is nowadays the dean there, and they have a lot of material and a lot of things that they can contribute. So similarly, maize and chickpea. You see, maize, if I may venture with, I want to apologize beforehand, you see, if it's not politically right, you see. That is, we had an MNC, I think, I don't know, Pioneer or some organization had brought in corn had brought in corn, and they had conducted, according to the instructions of NBC and according to the guidelines and rules, they had conducted 4 years of trials and which were monitored by the expert committees and all that. But when finally, when it was to be approved, somehow somebody, a secretary or somebody said, no, it cannot be done. Without any justification, without any, So these are the examples which, you see, we were doing all that to attract foreign investment also, you see. You see, जब हम हर फोरम पर गवर्नमेंट के वो शोर मचाते हैं कि जी फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट होनी चाहिए, तो जब ये एक एरिया ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट है, तो उस पर हम वी आर सो शाई एंड सो डू take the decisions in a very non-scientific manner, you see. So these are some of the things. Anyway, so chickpea पे भी आगे चलते जाएं जल्दी. ये सारे ये सनफ्लावर पे भी काम हो रहा है, पोटैटो पे भी काम हो रहा है, मस्टर्ड पे, राइस पे बहुत काम हो रहा है, you know, and tomatoes, lentils, you see. These are the things. I had compiled and published a book about 2 years back on status of agriculture biotechnology in Pakistan, and I have documented the projects, the name of the projects, the person who is doing it, and all that, you see. So I think if you could have a look at that, it will be good information, you see. Could I have the next one? Then also in wild mushrooms, cereals, and all that. The other area which we don't normally talk about is the research being done on the production of biofertilizers, biogas, biodiesel, biofuel, especially biofertilizers. Now there are about more than 200 small companies registered in Punjab, at least I know about Punjab, on doing different biostimulants, everything based on bio. You see, you know, microorganisms, bioorganophos, bio, etc., bio this and bio that. You see, so this is all part of biotechnology and part of improving the agriculture and improving the sustainable agriculture of the countries. In the private sector, I think I will compliment for brothers for being the pioneer in developing a first-rate agri-biotechnology laboratory in the country, and I don't want to talk too much about it because Javed Rais Sahab is going to explain that, and that is the way we would like our private sector to go. You see, because, you know, in order to collaborate, you have to have equal partners, you see, you know. It is nice, you know, that you have developed something and then you use it for making, for in the market, but it is important that you should also, private sector should have the capacity to develop the technology as well, you see, you know. So this is another thing, and we are happy to have Origa also group, and then other Bayer and Corteva, and now Syngenta and all that. We are actually, to be honest, I was putting all my efforts to have the companies like Monsanto have to come here in Pakistan, you see. And because that would have been an investment in the country, and it would help our agriculture in Pakistan. The biggest argument is that we had this transport to Daivo, you know, it is also foreign investment, but that did not hamper our national transport facilities. Those transport facilities have improved. They are now much better than Daivo, you see, you know. So that was the argument that we were trying to give to the government, that don't be afraid. I mean, we will be able to compete, you see. I had once occasion with Mr. Shabash Sharif, and I, in all my aggressive mode, I told him that we will take them head on, you see. We are not afraid that they will come and, you know, capture the market. We are here also to, we pains the Pakistani private sector is here to counter them, you see, or not to counter them, but to compete with them, you see, you know. So just to give you an idea about the biotech crops being cultivated worldwide, you see, you know, We have wheat which is being cultivated in Argentina, Australia, New Zealand, approved for wheat for import, sale and different consumption, etc. And then we have rice. Philippines has gone aggressively for cultivation of golden rice, you see, and that has helped them a lot. Then alfalfa, canola, cotton. Cotton is a crop which is cultivated in many countries. And then similarly maize, soybean, sugar beet, eggplant, poplar, these are all plants which are documented that these are being cultivated and approved in these countries, you see. Similarly, all these other crops are also not so important for us, but potato is. So this is just golden rice, and they have, lately Bangladesh has also started golden rice in golden rice, और उन्होंने वो बैंगन, eggplant का भी उन्होंने, they have approved it and commercially they have done that. Filipino were the first for the, anyway, next slide please. Well, in the regulatory process for commercialization, as I've already explained, you see in length, that there is an urgent need for revisiting the biosafety guidelines in the country. I have been told that there have been some amendments in the biosafety guidelines, and I hope that these make it more simpler and we can utilize it. But most important is, and it is unfortunate, and Dr. Farzana is here, she can vouch that we still do not have an independent National Biosafety Committee. That is not, it is being operated by the DG EPA with the help of one or two people, but we would recommend and try to help her to establish an independent center for biosafety, and I'm sure that she must be thinking about it and doing something about it, and we, on our whatever influence we have, we will like to help that, you see, to have that center independent, not part of the PSTP or anything, you see, but independent. It should be a part of the Environment Protection Agency or Ministry of Climate Change. It should be an independent center manned by highly technical people, you see, please, understand that biotechnology as a whole is a very technical area. You should, you already know it, you see, and we can't afford to have journalists, being in it, you see, journalists have different tool to play, but we need to have technical people in there because they are the people who are going to evaluate, who are going to see, who are going to advise and guide you, you see. Okay? Could I have the next one, please? Now, this is also amazing, you see, अब आप जरा अंदाज़ा कीजिए कि हमारी इतने सारे क्रॉप्स पे इतना सारा काम हो रहा है, you see, और लेकिन अभी तक हमारे development and dire need of adopting modern technology, only transgenic cotton has been commercialized in Pakistan. Cotton is the only crop which has been commercialized, or वो भी because of the efforts of Mr. Javed Qureshi, you see, and this is extremely important that we think of other crops of Pakistan, और ये जो हम कहते हैं कि सब, and this should be the job of NBC to create awareness. You see, ये इतने सारे projects मैंने आपको दिखाए हैं, हो रहे हैं. Are these in line with the NBC's tools and regulations? उन्होंने कितनों ने अपनी आपसे approval ली है for doing the laboratory manipulations, and then they will, जो भी हमारा tool है कि IBC, TAC, and then NBC, So our scientific community has to be made aware of all these requirements. It is in their interest, you see, Then I'm told, I don't know if it's right or not, that only about around 250 cases of GMOs are under review at NBC. Is it true? 500. 500, my God. Okay, anyway, so my recommendations are simple. You can have a look at this, that a functional NBC with regulators and policymakers from scientific background to fully understand the technology benefit. This is the number one, as I've already said. And then we have regulations related to agricultural biotechnology, especially, yes, we have to devise, अगर कोई टेक्निकल कमेटी हो, टेक्निकल एनबीसी हो, तो वो कंटिन्यूसली शुड कीप डिवाइसिंग के साथ नई टेक्नोलॉजीज कौन सी हैं. इस वक्त रिस्पर कैस और जेनोम एडिटिंग की इतनी पावरफुल टेक्नोलॉजीज हैं, और मैनी कंट्रीज हैव टेकन दीज टेक्नोलॉजीज आउट ऑफ द बायोसेफ्टी गाइडलाइंस. कि अगर आपने ये टेक्नोलॉजी इस्तेमाल की हैं, दैट यू डोंट हैव टू कम टू द बायोसेफ्टी ऑफिस, और and then my fourth point is also biotechnology suffers, and just मैंने पहले भी कहा, suffers from a people's issue, and owing to the rise in misinformation companies as well as the lack of dynamic communication platforms. This aspect is another barrier to entry of commercialization. You see, I mean, internet के जहाँ पे advantages हैं, वहाँ पे disadvantage भी है कि you can spread the misinformation as fast as you can, you see, So ये सारी misinformation जब किसी non-technical बंदे के पास जाती है, he is not able to decide whether it is false or it is scientific or non-scientific. ये हमारे especially all the secretaries who get all that information through net, you see, through emails and through all this, they get influenced, and they form their positions based on those hearsay or those emails, you see. So this has been one very important factor, you see, and that's where the role of the technical people comes in to educate our secretaries or educate our non-technical officers as well, you see, So this is one of the handicaps, and this is about it. I think ये तो पहले थी, पता नहीं कैसे आ गई है. Anyway, this is about it, and I again want to thank that this is probably the first event which has been organized through the Ministry of Climate Change, you see, and I hope they get its ownership also. That they have to do all the things that we all will talk about. And I once again thank you all for your attention. Thank you.